tell me, if this does actually pass and become law, what is this going to accomplish, do you think, that's not already being handled in existing law?
Yeah, so the district attorneys and law enforcement came to us and told us that they don't have the tools they need to fight this opioid crisis. They do have some current charges under current law, including second-degree murder, and we've seen that be charged before. However, it's very difficult to prove second-degree murder in a drug-dealing type case where someone sells drugs and the individual they sold it to ends up dying, because you have to prove malice. And what this bill does, death by distribution, it removes that requirement that the district attorney prove malice, and it gives them a tool to actually fight this opioid crisis.
What do you think this will do in terms of what we're not maybe seeing the federal government do, because they take on a lot of these cases as well, going after dealers who we think of more conventionally as being drug dealers on a large scale. What is this going to do in terms of, I guess, locking people up who might not otherwise be facing jail time?
Yeah. So some charges are just state law charges depending on the circumstances. And so what this is going to do, it's going to give our DAs a real tool that will allow them to give folks real jail time when they peddle this poison for profit. When they sell drugs to try to make money and those drugs end up killing people, what death by distribution will do is allow district attorneys to make a charge that results in a person getting a prison sentence similar to what they might get for second-degree murder.
Over the last several weeks, we've had some people come here to the legislature lobbying against this, people who've lost loved ones to overdoses, who are concerned that this might deter people from calling when they see somebody who is overdosing, that they might get charged themselves. What are you all doing to address that concern?
Yeah. Well, this bill has gone through the committee process. We've debated that issue at length. We do have Good Samaritan laws that are already on the books that will alleviate some of those concerns. And the second thing I would say is, in North Carolina, district attorneys have a lot of discretion. And we trust those district attorneys to use this charge properly. They've come to us, along with law enforcement, as I said earlier, and asked for this tool. We think that they're going to use it properly, that they'll use good judgment and good discretion in determining who should be charged with death by distribution.
So do you believe in any way this could undermine the Good Samaritan law and the good that that has done since it passed several years ago?
I don't think so. I don't see that happening here, but we have a huge problem in North Carolina with opioids. People are dying every day. They're using drugs just one time, perhaps, and it can have fentanyl in it, and these drugs don't come with a label on them telling you what's in them. You don't know if fentanyl is in the pill that an individual might be taking, and they can take that one pill and they can be dead. It can kill them from just simply taking a little bit of fentanyl. And so with that huge problem in North Carolina, that's why we think this charge is absolutely critical to helping law enforcement, our district attorneys, meet the need that we're facing right now.
Aside from the criminal justice piece of this, you talk about what you're doing in terms of trying to improve access for people who need recovery and treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the opioid crisis is something that we can't address just by over-criminalizing things. Death by distribution, I think, is a good policy, but it's just one piece of the puzzle, really. And you've seen us, especially in the State House and in the General Assembly as a whole, over the course of the last couple of years, we've tried to attack this opioid crisis on all fronts. We had a bill that came through in the last session that really dealt with doctors and pharmacists and the way that they prescribe certain pain medications, and trying to limit the volume of prescriptions that were entered in terms of opioids and other pain medications. And so we've continued to look at those things. We'll continue to do that. It's not a silver bullet type solution that can fix it all, and I expect that we'll continue to look at a comprehensive solution moving forward.
Have you seen, just in your experience here, have you seen anything of this scale that you all have had to address when we talk about drug use in our communities?
Yeah. We've had drug problems in this country for many years. However, the current drug problem seems to be worse than anything we faced in the past. Addiction obviously is a problem, but when it comes to opioids and fentanyl and other high-powered drugs, it's more than just a problem of addiction. It's a problem of you can take a small amount of these drugs and it can kill a person. And the level of danger that we're seeing with these drugs is really greater, in my opinion, than anything we've seen before. And that's why we have to take the measures that we in the General Assembly have tried to take. Like I said earlier, making sure that the pharmaceuticals are being prescribed properly, and also making sure that those folks who would try to sell this type of drug know that they are putting themselves at risk, because it is a serious criminal offense to sell drugs to somebody and cause them to die.
Anything else about the drug distribution bill we did not talk about that you think is important for people to understand?
I just think that it's very important to understand that this bill came as a result of working with law enforcement, working with our district attorneys, working with a whole array of different folks in trying to come to some solution of the problem. How are we going to punish these folks who are dealing this poison and trying to make money off of it? And death by distribution is the result of a lot of work among that whole group of people. And the second thing, it's important for folks to understand that district attorneys have a lot of discretion in how they charge. And our DAs have told us that they want to use this to go after drug dealers, and not just folks who may be substance abusers, but actual drug dealers who are trying to sell these drugs and are killing people as a result.
Yeah, I think that touches on, I think, the major concern that I've heard is that somebody who gives this to their friend and then that person overdoses, the concern that they'll be suddenly treated as a drug dealer, even if they're not in that conventional sense that we think of.
Yeah, and I don't think that's going to happen. Number one, under the statutory language, I'm not sure that those folks would be covered. But number two, even if there was some argument that they would be covered, again, our district attorneys have that discretion to go after folks who are selling drugs as opposed to somebody who might just be using drugs.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, yeah.